How's that? Better? All right.
There you go.
So, we have a lot of wonderful poets here. Thank you so much for being with these creatives. I am blessed, and so I'm going to get right to it. First piece I'm going to read is called, If I Were a Book, Would I Be Banned? If I were a book, would I be banned? Of course I'd be banned. Not at first, but eventually. I would couch my comments in a lullaby, a swing-a-by, or 3 blind rodents, almost any kitty song, because mine enemy isn't bright. Of course I'd be banned, not at first, but eventually. The audiobook would follow the melody of a collage of favorite American tunes thus far allowed and not yet unsanctioned. Of course I'd be banned, not at first, but eventually, because I wouldn't sing it. I'd be a marked mask singer wearing gloves and utilize a voice change attachment so that you couldn't tell it's me even upon my speaking voice. Of course I'd be banned. Not at first, but eventually, because my nom de plume would be divulged by angry someone I trusted who could be bought off with a flight ticket to the moon, and I don't mean piloted by Ralph via Camden Airlines. Of course I'd be banned, because I'm not going to change. Just the circumstances allowing my free speech taking on another form. DMW. What keeps me going? A child's smile and infectious laughter. My husband's dimples and swagger. Our son's eyes, curls, and knowing grin. My siblings' voices, individuality, and humor. Parental and elder concerns expressed, their childhood memories and recipes shared. Same friends. Continuous, seasonless spring cleaning of family and acquaintances. Meeting new poets. Writing with depth and purpose, breathing, loving, Tai Chi, music, artisan work. Limited hope, no longer abundant, tempered by reality, aging, gaining sense, trying to obtain wisdom, just on the cusp of obtaining wisdom. Or I'm fooling myself. Well, it'll play out or not. Wisdom is elusive, or I've attained some by this writing and documenting thoughts, ideas, constructive, positive habits I have included in my life. Listening and not saying much anymore. Keeping a more concerted silence so that I can relish the gifts that may unfold in my stillness. Identifying disingenuous persons and leaving them alone to learn on their own and not at my expense, because they value me less than they value themselves. What keeps me going is the adventure of your mind and mine, engaging in the unknown, oftentimes in sync, and tantalizingly when not in sync at all. Maybe I'm hearing wisdom bells. It sounds like music humming, low, rhythmic, hypnotic, welcoming, comforting. Note it. Continue. Try to sing along. Not ready yet? Still tuning my sinews, my neurons, my heart. DMW. Now we all know that we are history. We make history. We are. What others are going to look back on and say, oh, we're all part of Black history. We're history. So I find sometimes it's really good to look at what has caused me to be who I am. And part of that is, of course, from what I learned from childhood. So this is a nonfiction piece from my childhood. It's called Body Grammar. The big girls were those already double-digit age. So when anyone 10 years old and up spoke, it was the truth. They knew the world, after all, because they were here a while before us. Their words were pronouncements with weight and gravity. They were almost grown wearing knee-high socks, not anklets like us. The big girls wore training bras and secretly lip gloss. They were to us younger kids street smart gurus. My single-digit aged friends and I will co-mingle occasionally with the big girls. One morning in the schoolyard, someone within this shared community floated the idea of which of us could be the Virgin Mary. I wasn't going to be outdone. I wanted to be the Virgin Mary. She was Jesus's mother, a good girl. She had faith, she suffered, but ended up in glory and didn't have to die. He's the king of the whole shebang. Oh yeah, I could do that. I could be the Virgin Mary. I was a contender. But then one of the big girls said I couldn't be the Virgin Mary. She said that everybody knows that when little black girls are born, the doctor opens her hyphen so it won't hurt. And that's why black girls go with boys so young. Wait a minute, I have a hyphen? Where? I heard the word before. It's in my grammar book, along with comma and question mark. I didn't know about period yet. I am crushed. I'm a good girl. No, I can't be the Virgin Mother Mary. Mom said the tooth fairy keeps baby teeth. Maybe Mel kept my hyphen alongside my plastic infant wristband. If she has my hyphen, I'd like to see it. As soon as I walked through our door, which opened directly onto our living room, I yelled loudly out, "Ma, am I a virgin?" She's in the kitchen. I knew she could hear my question. Probably everyone did through these thin apartment walls. "Yes, you are," she responded at a normal register. I shout out, "Are you sure?" I asked it again because I'm not done. "Yes, I'm sure, Diane." Okay. Now I walk into the kitchen where Ma is cutting an apple for my afternoon snack. She must be cutting that apple into 16ths because she's still cutting a little bright red apple. Very calmly, Ma says, "Why do you ask?" So I tell her. The big girls said that I can't be the Virgin Mary because everybody knows that doctors take little black girls' hyphen when they are born, and that's why black girls go with the boys real young. Ma says, "Diane, that's not true." You tell those girls that the same thing that they say about little black girls could be turned around and said about any group of people. Someone could turn around and say it about them. It's not true. I was elated. Oh, I was so excited that I could be the Virgin Mary. I couldn't sleep that night. I picked out my school clothes for the next day. I would close and open my eyes, and it was still dark out. Oh, I couldn't wait to get to that schoolyard. I ran up to the big girls in the schoolyard and proclaimed, "My mother said..." "Well, you told your mother?" one asked. "Yes, I did." And I continued uninterrupted, and she said, "That's not true. I am a virgin, and whatever you want to say about little black girls, anyone could say about any group of people, even you. So don't say that again." Me and my hyphen proudly turned around and marched across the schoolyard to play with the other kids. Yes. DMW. My muse doesn't nap. Where there is a thought to be registered, notes become their voice, and I sing within. When there are thoughts to be considered, notes become their voice, and I write. Where are thoughts that do not want to disappear again, my voice attempts to imitate their sensory feel. DMW. Those of you that have heard me read before always know I like to also introduce another poet. I like to read other poets' work, one piece of someone else's work, because I like to introduce people to other people. And I think since this is a wonderful platform, as most features and open mics are, I give that time, some of that time, to someone else. So there is a poet I'd like to introduce you to. Her name is Rita Zahir. She has a book, Saffron and Sunshine and Sweets. And I'm going to read one piece of hers. It's a wonderful book. She's published by Red and Green Press, Marissa Prada in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And while I'm talking to poets, there are people in the audience that maybe aren't big on poetry in here. Here's a piece that I gotta admit, I wish I had written it, but I didn't. Rita wrote it. Give props. Go love a poet. Go find you a poet to write you into oblivion, to make you a muse for a mystic metaphor musician, to wistfully woo you into allegories of sin, to kiss soft sonnets into the creases of your skin. Maybe even to orate the odes of the new goddess religion, to fluff your aura, stroke your chakras, and revive your rhythm. Go find you a poet to season your stanzas with simile and cinnamon, to flower over your floors and slow dance with your darkest demon, to love you beyond any logic or reason. Go find you a poet to tickle your tongue with perfect precision, to twist your lips in artful transitions, to plant pretty prose and invoke vivid visions, to pen conception of those divergent decisions, to playfully roll rhymes down your demure dimensions, amassing allegiance around addictive alliterations. Go find you a poet. to memorialize your movements in all of memory, to heighten your hypersexuality with a heavy heap of hyperbole, to speak into being the beginning of your legendary history, to mix magic into the meaning of your divinity, to beset your soul with seductive stories of destiny, to finger forever and edge eternity, desiring you desperately into infinity, to the soundtrack of a sweet, sweet soliloquy, luring you into the endless, blissful abyss of poetry. Rita Zaire. So please, whenever we get a chance, we should do reviews, we should share each other's poets. It's a nice way of helping each other. Do I have time for another piece? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. One piece.
I love that poem. Very sensitive.
Like I said, I wish I'd written it, but I didn't. You gotta give credit. You know, you gotta give credit. I'm gonna read this last piece. It's called Tally Your Gains. And I live in America, and you know what that means? Well, the whole world knows. You didn't find what wasn't lost unless you were the one that was lost. Now you find yourself to talk to, huh? Are you finding what you lost? Now you found the real you, like what you see, believe, hold dear? Have you lost your biases or found a few? Have you found redemption or lost your faith? Have you lost the conscience you never had or finally found one? Did you lose weight and find yourself satiated from a spiritual mana? Did you really lose anything but gained so much more? You zoom around the globe now in hyperspeed. Emergency resuscitation is still in the works because hands can virtually clasp across the screen. True poet friends and creatives don't require explanations or justifications to the nosy and insecure, because your wordsmithing is more than sufficient. Have you lost your fights and gained well-deserved bruising? Is that your judgment self-calling? Have you found your voice at the expense of others? Oh, so no change. You weathered this well. Another unseen monster wins another bout. People don't want to necessarily be other than they are, so why change when you can get attention? Play the victim while becoming the victimizer, the bully for a change. And when you have no takers, continue grinning, because your fall is coming. It's the fulcrum of life. The alleged yin-yang, the equalizing, the karma, unless you're all above that as well. Aren't you super powerful? Is there a palpable elixir, I wonder? I lost a fair portion of my sense of humor. I find an ability to silently cry deeper about the extinctions of animals, plants, and my belief that people are intrinsically good when they aren't. I found out how sinister people can be and smile at the same time. But I found that out pre-pandemic. I needed reminding to the nth degree during the pandemic. I lost a fair portion of my belief that people are mostly kind, fair, good-natured, believe in God, and will suffer from evil intentions. No. I found my innate inborn instincts again that I denied via the intentional confusion of mean-spirited persons. They faked being familiar, but found them to be pore-covered water retentive shelves with faulty internal plumbing. Still there, good. Writing, continue poets. We are the voice. DMW. Thank you.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
Amazing.